Welcome back, my Planet Coaster friends. We're doing it. You guys asked for it. I've gotten about a dozen emails about this and a dozen comments on YouTube requesting for Firewatch. So I decided, let's do it. I try to get to subscriber submissions first, and I've been putting this off, but I figured let's just Hail Mary it and get this one done today because everybody keeps asking me for it. So today's episode, everybody, for Coaster Spotlight is going to be Firewatch the Ride. So stay tuned and let's check it out. Alright, so before we get started, I have to say, well, you guys heard me in the intro saying how this is like my most requested ride, and I did see this quite some time ago, and I put it on my favorites and I subscribed to it, but I never got around to checking it out. And I also know there are videos for this. Let me check on YouTube here. Yeah, so the creator himself has a point of view coaster for this. If you want to go check it out, the links will be down in the description below. It already has 32,000 views. It got quite a bit more than my average video does, so that's why I was kind of wondering why it got requested so much, because when I typed it into YouTube, I did see quite a bit of videos on this already by other YouTubers, plus the creator himself made a point of view. So I think the creator on YouTube is Fish Tank Bro, and on the Steam Workshop here it is Sammy. So let's take a quick look at it on the Steam Workshop. So this is Firewatch the Ride, and there's 2 videos for this. Lots of cool screenshots. Just based off the screenshots, I could tell this is going to be a crazy one. And it says here there are over 1,300 triggered scenery events for this ride. Hence why I never watched any of the videos, because I wanted to, if I was ever to do this as a spotlight, I didn't want any of it to be spoiled, and I want those 1,300 triggered events to be unique in my first impressions. So main features are the forest fire that breaks out and rushing river that wipes it out. Wow, that sounds amazing. You may need to lower your graphics settings to run it smoothly. Well, we're gonna Hail Mary this and just go on high graphics. Hopefully my computer doesn't catch on fire along with this forest. So normally the way I do things is I break it down first and I take a look at everything. We have this turned off right now, so we can take a quick look at the park, I should say, the forest. It looks very cool. The coaster tracks look amazing, and I don't know if I mentioned this already. I'm a little bit out of it, guys, sorry. I think Firewatch was a video game, and you have to like go through a forest, and there's forest fires, and it's kind of like a storytelling adventure game. I haven't played it myself, but I had a friend who bought it who said it was pretty good. So this must be the dam that breaks open or something. That's what we just read in the description. Very cool. Love the forest, love the scenery. And what we're going to do is we're going to ride the coaster, and then we're going to look closer at the triggered events and talk about them a bit, because I love me some triggered events. And this, I remember looking at screenshots and videos for the Firewatch, the video game on Steam, and I do remember this iconic building, and this is like where he found his walkie-talkie or something, and this is, I don't know, somebody's in this tower. I really don't know anything about this, but I do remember seeing that iconic tower, and then there's some other towers over here, communications towers. Very nicely constructed. Love the wires and all that. Very good stuff. So let's skip the pleasantries, the introductions, and let's just get right into it. Let's ride this bad boy. Oh boy. Oh. Wow. No campfires, guys. Oh god. I see a fire down there. Oh my god. We're gonna have to look at this in other views. The fire's growing. Oh, this is so cool. The coaster itself is amazing so far, too. My favorite coasters are the wooden coasters, guys. And the hybrids. Wow, look at that fire! Oh my god! I wish we could get a better view of the fire. Yeah, we're definitely riding this thing twice, I think. The reservoir. Alright. Wow, this is fast. I love the sound of a wooden steel coaster. The hybrids especially. Oh, wow! Oh my god, that is incredible! Oh boy! What a great view! That was triggered perfectly. Impeccable. Wow, look at the smoke. Oh my god. Low danger. There's like a meter. Like a stress meter. Oh. Now I know why everybody was asking for this. Oh my god, we should have done this weeks ago. That's so crazy. What, we're not done yet? Oh, okay, we are done. I was gonna shit my pants for a second there. Oh. What just happened? Okay, we're riding this back to back. Let's go again. We're going cinematic view. I want to see if we can get better shots of the forest fire. Yes. Hopefully the cinematic view does a good job. We might even have to ride it 3 times so I can move the camera around and take a look at the fire directly. Because there's so many triggered events going on that I want to watch them. I mean, we could even do that without riding the coaster. But I want to have double the pleasure. I want to watch the coaster while watching the triggered events, if possible. So, but nonetheless, we're probably going to have to watch the triggered events all by themselves. Cinematic camera's doing a pretty decent job. Wow! That was a great shot. Holy crap. Look at all the smoke. Like, the whole forest is getting foggy. Oh, we're going into nighttime now. Oh, I didn't even think about nighttime. We're going to have to take a better look at everything. Multiple different ways. This is a crazy episode. Wow, look at that view. This is spectacular. Under the water here. Love these shots for some reason. Okay, it's blowing up. Let's see if we get a good shot here. Oh, look at that. This is where I shit my pants. Water's gushing over the camera right now. Wow, 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 wow. That is a great design without the fire in the water. I love this hybrid wooden coaster. Spectacular. Up in the Alpines, too. The Alpine is my favorite map so far. I do love the new Arctic map, though. Alright, what we're going to do here, we're going to look at the triggered events. We're going to keep a close eye on this as the coaster runs its course. We could even do a time lapse. I don't know how I want to do this. Look at these views, though. This is so gorgeous. So here, it's the campfire, I think. That is amazing. So I'm curious to know, like, I haven't played around with the triggered events too much, so I'm assuming you can set a duration. So each one of these is turning on when the coaster hits certain points. and then they're just told to stay on for, who knows, 30 seconds to a minute. What's very impressive is the timing, because these ones turned on, then these ones turned on, then these ones turned on. So if they all turn off at roughly the same time or slowly get put out by the water, that means they all have to turn off at different times. But they've all turned on at different times as well. So really good job at the timetable for this. So it should be coming around. So that's the fire itself. So it's not the craziest fire, and it's not killing my computer either, which is great. But it looks amazing from certain perspectives. That looks really good. So here we're going to watch it break open. Let's take a good look at this. Wow! That is so cool. And the water, so all these different waterfall effects, because the water isn't dynamic in this game, guys, so he's literally turning on waterfall, 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 and then these just start turning off. Smoke comes up. It was timed a little bit odd. Almost perfect, though. And then these, now he has another triggered events to turn the fire off, but keep the smoke on. I don't know if there was smoke and fire before, and just the fire turned off, and now it's just the smoke. Either way, he might have had to alternate them. So there's fire effects, and all the waterfalls are turning off at different times. Wow, that is brilliant. Let's take a better look at these triggered events, guys. Okay, so we're gonna take a better look at these triggered events. So there's 22 trigger points with 1,300 connected to it. So trigger point 1. Hold on, let's pause this. What's trigger point 1? The campfire. Okay, so there's a sign that says no campfires. So this is the first linked object right here. So the campfire actually turns on as we're leaving the boarding station. Makes sense? Then trigger number 2, the first fire. Where's the coaster right now? So we're going to be... Okay, so there are... Does it give you a counter? 28 fire objects connected to trigger 2. So we're going to see all 28 of these triggered events turn on right about here as it hits this point. So let's just go through this one at a time. I'm very curious about how this works, and I want to break it down. So fire turns on now. So they're all turning on. It's interesting that they turn on kind of in staggered events, so it must be running through them like a script, turning them on one at a time, so there's a slight delay between them. Okay, he set the delay. Oh, I didn't realize that's a thing. That's impressive. So there's a slight delay between each one, 0.3 seconds. So each one of these, that's why it looks like the fire's growing. Very nice indeed. Alright, this is why I wanted to break it down, guys, because this is really interesting. And for anyone that wants to learn about triggered events, I believe you're going to learn something here. And if there's anyone that's interested in the game... Uh-oh. Oh, I thought the game was crashing. Got worried there. If anyone is interested in getting this game, this goes to show how powerful the game can actually be. So we have flamethrowers and large effects. So I'm assuming the flamethrowers shoot up and catch the trees on fire, which is very cool. And again, all of these are delayed by 0.3 seconds. So if anyone's wondering how this is done, for example, he put down the... we're going to try and grab one here. See this? That's what the fire effect comes from. So what you would do if you wanted to set this all up, you would put them all on the ground, and you'd have all these square pads that are fire effects all on the ground. You'd have your flamethrowers. Then you would and it would look ugly as heck because they're all exposed. Then you would do your test run and start putting your trigger points down, and then say, okay, I want this one to catch on fire first. So you go into your triggers, and then you go to the trigger point, so you can move these trigger points. And then, so for fire 2, he put a trigger point here. And then all you have to do is say attach an object. So you push this add object to trigger, and then you just select the object, and then it adds it first in the list. And then you add another one, and then you add another one. And then he just went in and put a delay on the second, third, fourth one. So he basically added them in the order that he wanted to have them grow. So he's like, okay, I want the fire to start here. I'll click this one and add it. Then I'll click this one and add it and put a delay. I click this one and add it and put a delay. And it's actually not that complicated at the end of the day. It seems really complicated when you look at it all and all this stuff is happening, but from the very get-go, when you're starting things off and you're just, you know, by the end of it all, it's very complicated. But if you're working in layers and you're working in order, it's actually not that crazy at all. But it is very impressive nonetheless. I don't want to take anything away from what he's done here, not at all. Just trying to say that for those of you who seem intimidated by these sort of triggered events, I'm just trying to explain to you that with a little bit of patience and doing things in order, it's actually, it's not rocket science, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. So, but it is impressive nonetheless, and let's put that back at the ground here. So let's continue our little journey here through the triggered events. So number 3 here, it's going to set off, wow, it lags out my computer opening up these tabs. So it's setting off 100 objects. What is 499 meters? Oh, that's into the track. I see. Okay. So here it's going to go and it's going to set off a bunch of flamethrowers. So I want to make sure we pause it. There is a delay. And right here. So we're going to see it, a large fire effect, a flamethrower. So we'll see a flamethrower somewhere. It might just be the larger flames, but I could have sworn I saw a flamethrower. There, these guys. So it's going up the tree, engulfing the tree, which is a really cool effect. Very realistic. I believe on each individual object too, you can. There's a duration. So if we were to select that object, it'll say. Let me see here. If I grab this guy, see, it's 60 seconds. So all of these will turn off at 60 seconds, and I believe because they turned on in this order, and if they're all 1 minute, so they all turn on, and then these ones turn on, and then these ones turn on. If they're all 60 seconds, then these are the first to turn off, these are the second to turn off, and so if they're all 60 seconds, they should all technically turn off in order, which is very smart indeed. Three-second trigger. Okay, that's a fire effect. Nonetheless, this is very cool. I like breaking this down. This is fun. Okay, so I'm getting the hang of this now. Some of them are on duration, and some of them are just to create effects. So let's see what the next triggered event is. Whoops, I'm a dummy. Oh, did I accidentally stop the ride? I did. Okay, that's fine. I wonder if it knows to turn off all the triggered events. We're going to close the ride and open it again. I accidentally did something when I edited the track. It put the cart back at the beginning. So that's one problematic thing about this, is the triggered events are see, we have to wait for the 60 seconds to lapse out on those. Here we go. See, what's cool about this is we can see those 60-second durations, they're turning off all at the same time. Or, I mean, at the rate that they turned on. So they wither away. So that effect happens even without the water. So that effect happening there at the 60-second point is just timed perfectly for when the water hits the bottom. See that? So even we just simulated the water being put out just by fast forwarding it. So trigger 4 and 5 are another couple fires, so they're pretty self-explanatory. They're much like 2 and 3 that we looked at here, so there's not much to say other than it goes deeper. So it's going to go click, click, and hit these, and then it's going to create a fire here, and then here. And there they all go. They're going to start lighting up. There's a bit of a delay on all of them, and then we're going to pause it here. What's 6? First refire. Okay, let's take a look at the refire here. And what's 7? Second refire. Okay, so there might be a max duration on some of these objects, and then he's reigniting them to increase their duration, I believe. That might be the logic behind the refire. And then there's third fire 1, third fire 3. So, or it might just be adding more flames, making the fire even crazier. And what's 12 here? Second refire. So he might actually be increasing the duration on all of those effects, which is pretty crazy. But he also has them in groups. So you might be able to... I wonder if this game allows you to add trigger and then add a whole group. That would make things a lot easier. Very curious to try that now. And then the emergency lights. Can I actually select... See, I wish I could select the object and let it take me to it. Because there's emergency lights. We might have to go to nighttime to see this. Oh, that's annoying. I can't select nighttime. Oh, that's really annoying. Oh, well. So there's emergency lights that go off somewhere. I don't see where. And then we have 15 water out of the dam. So special water effects. There's splashes. Water spouts and splashes all going off. Okay, there's also 14, which is blowing out the den, which happens right before it. I didn't see that one at first. So 14 is Western explosions. So it's going to hit them and spray both at the same time. So the explosions go off and then the water effects go off. And that's what we're seeing here between the combination. Then 16 is then it's going to start the rushing river. And I believe that can all be done one after another after another. I'm curious to see now because we can't see it with all the rocks. I really wanted to take a better look at that. But essentially the way he has it is there's water that you can do that's pouring like this that everybody uses for the waterfalls. So you're going to have a row of them here, a row of them here, a row of them here, a row of them here. And then basically he's timed it out perfectly with the delay. He figured out how long it takes for this water to get to here. And if it takes, 2 seconds or whatever, then this one has a 2-second delay and then a 2-second delay. And you just proceed with that delay and that length between them. And then it's going to look like the water's just pouring all the way down. Because, like I said, there is no dynamic water in this game. So it is all done through triggered events, giving the illusion that the water is dynamic. Very cool indeed. A lot of hard work gone into this. I can appreciate it 100%. What I was saying earlier about, it's not that hard to do. I mean, this many triggered events, it would take a long time to do. I was just trying to say that setting up these trigger events isn't too insanely complicated. You just have to make sure that you I'm assuming he did all his decorations after, or he had the triggered events up in the air and sunk them in once it was all working. So there's ways to do it, but you don't want to have it, I can't really manipulate it here and take a better look at it because all the triggered events are hidden from me and I'd have to delete all the scenery and get it out of my way. So on the surface, everything is already covered up and it looks pretty and it all came together and it comes together remarkably. But the science behind it is when all these trees are out of the way, you just have all the triggered events on the ground and you were to set them up, the logic behind it is pretty simple. And I think this is a great example for anyone that has all these crazy ideas for animations. This is the one you're going to want to come study, but you're going to have to delete all the terrain and really take a better look at the delays. Me personally, I would love to look at the waterfalls to find out what the delay in between them is. So, looking at the triggered events again, we have rushing river, and then the bottom river happens here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Wow, that is so well done. See another trigger right there. It's so seamless. There's one here, I think, and then a couple here. Now, the steam was at 22 here. And all the fire, like I said, there is no triggered event for the fire going out. That's just based off of the delays he added in. The refires or whatever is causing them to burn for another 60 seconds, and then they burn out just as the water's getting here. So impeccable timing on all of this. Amazing. I mean, setting this all up must have taken hours, dozens of hours. So again, I don't want to take anything away from the complexity of all this. This is absolutely amazing. This rushing waterfall, setting it up the way he did with all these triggered events is absolutely astonishing. Even the way they turn off in delays. They're all turning off perfectly so that it looks as if the water's running out. Very cool. Absolutely brilliant this is. That is a lot of triggered events. But like I said, it's 22 triggers and 1,300 objects. The work really came down to the delays. If we were to actually grab all these triggered events and pull them out of the ground here, like, that is insane. So I think some of them are in groups. And if we edit them, I'm assuming all of these have the same right. So he was smart about it, and he added all these to a group, and then set. So when you create one, you set it to a 60-second duration, and then you duplicate it all around, and they all have 60 seconds. And they're layered, so the first layer is going off, and then the second layer. So I'm thinking the way he did this really was he tested it with one, got the timing right, maybe tested it with a couple water spouts just to see how many he needed to get the water to the bottom. And oh, this is all the triggered events. There's a lot more than I thought. I think these might be the smaller rushing waters. So they just, there's a half a second delay or a third of a second, and then it goes off, goes off, goes off, goes off, goes off, and then they probably all have roughly the same duration, 35 seconds. And then, so because they're all, yeah, that's pretty smart. So they're all 35 seconds, and you just had to use the same one and duplicate it everywhere. And because this was a delay, a third of a second, a third of a second, a third of a second, you know, by the time it gets down to here, this one starts burning for 30 seconds, but then this one starts to run out, and then a third of a second later this one runs out, third of a second later this one runs out. So really the magic behind it, look at this, it's so cool seeing it from up in this perspective like this. So they're all going off like, you know, a third of a second each. Like I said, as it's reaching the bottom, in 35 seconds from now they're all going to be staggered by 0.3 seconds, so they're all going to turn off perfectly. So the turning them off part happens naturally because of the spaced out triggers that were connected to the track. Because when you add them all to the track, you say hit the switch right now. He's put the delay there. So really, you just have to put them all down, and then the work is really in selecting them all and adding them to that trigger, and then doing all the spacing in that trigger. And it would have been a huge, tedious task there. But once it's all set and done in the trigger on the track, the rest does itself. But figuring that out, the timing on, do I need a third of a second? Do I need a half of a second? Do I need a second? All of this timing is absolutely remarkable. I love it. Really good job to Sammy. Great work. Absolutely love this ride, guys. This is incredible. Now I know why everybody was telling me to check this out. It was totally worth it. This is going to be a long episode, quite a big one to edit as well. I learned quite a bit from this, and I got some cool ideas for the future, and I love the way he's animated using the effects. So hopefully you guys took something from this. Hopefully I explained it all right for you guys. I mean, we could break it down even further, but that could take an hour. So I tried to do my best to keep it simple. But if you're curious in how to make animated trigger events, I would say come take a closer look at this and study it if what I said didn't make enough sense for you. But hopefully I did a good job of explaining it. And I think I got a pretty good understanding of how it works. And I think I might use some of these tools in the future in terms of ideas. At least I know that what is possible with this game using the animated trigger events when connected to a coaster. And as a little tip, guys, what you can do if you want to do something like this, you don't even need a coaster. You can actually just make a ride that's on test that goes in a circle. It goes in a loop. And then when it hits that certain point, it does X, Y, and Z, you know? And so you can just like have a little ride inside of a hill and just tuck it off to the side, and it just like knocks off triggered events for you. And then you can use those triggered events for a coaster or something. So you can do fireworks, you can create little events like this, and they just happen on a loop. They just loop constantly because this little train is going around this track over and over and over again. You know, and you can just hide that under your terrain and keep it on test mode. So that's just a little cool thing that I found when I was playing around with stuff. So very cool indeed. Once again, everybody, this is the Firewatch The Ride by Sammy. Come check him out. Give this a rating and a favorite. It already has 140 ratings. This was created quite a while ago. A lot of subscribers. Surprised it doesn't have more. Very impressive. I guess it's because it's a park and the parks are less popular than the placeable rides. Nonetheless, I think this is worth checking out for everybody if the videos didn't do it justice. If you're really interested in those mechanics, I highly recommend coming and subscribing to this and taking a better look at it for yourself. All right, everybody, I'm glad we got this out of the way. I won't see any emails and comments about this one, although it was well worth it, so I'm glad I finally came and checked it out. We have so many submissions coming in that I don't really have time to pick these one-offs that are not submissions. So I didn't really give any feedback on this one because this was not a person who submitted it. We just wanted to check it out and dissect it a little bit, and I think that's why people have been requesting it, because I tend to rant and talk about everything, and the other videos are mainly just point of view rides. Hopefully you guys got something out of this one today, and if you did, please be sure to smash that like button, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, and let me know what you guys think of this down in the comments below. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya!